Sony have taken some steps very recently in an attempt to hide many of the trashy quick indie games that are coming to their platform, and I think it's worth talking about in this video. So I'm going to be going over an article by Push Square, and we're going to talk about what it means and how it's going to look going forward. So the title is Sony adjusts default PS Store sorting amid shovelware backlash. So Sony have faced some scrutiny, and I think it's pretty clear to say that over the past year, 2 years or so, the new game section of the PS Store every week is just flooded with tens and tens of £2, £3 clutter games, which a lot of us know in this community are all centered around just turning over those quick platinum trophies for some gamers. And the article just explains further what I've just said. The majority of these games, are very quick platinum trophies, and the new store section was originally just new releases in the order of releasing. So you would see endless amounts of games like Taco Bell, the Pub Quiz, etc. in this new section, and it would kind of make it really difficult to actually find the new games you wanted. If you imagine a big budget game or a game that's maybe double A's in that is amidst those easy games, it affects their ability to sell, and it just means you've got to weigh through and you've got to fight through all these trashy games most people aren't going to buy to find the game you actually want to buy and to see what the best games of each week actually are. So what they've actually done is they've rearranged the new game section to be starting with the best selling games, which kind of hides a lot of these games, takes them out of the equation for people just reaching on to the actual new game section of the PlayStation Store. These games are still very accessible, so you go on View All and you can find them that way, which I'm going to show you in a moment, but it does mean it looks a little bit better than what it did, and it's interesting to know that Sony actually are taking action against these type of games that are just completely saturating this section of the PS Store, and in many ways the entire PS Store. So on the left here you can see what the PS Store originally was like. You can see it's a bit of a clutter. You can see all these trashy games, so many stacks of them. Why is there multiple stacks? What? I don't know. And then you can see what it looks like now, where they've changed it to best selling. You can see there's a lot more AAA games in there, more AA games, games with the higher budget, some free games, some expensive games, a variety there, and you can kind of get a better access to the games you most likely want to play. I just want to quickly highlight this final closing statement, which states that there's a lot of work to be done, but this is a temporary stopgap solution to this problem. So I just thought I'd hop over straight onto the PlayStation Store so you can see what mine looks like right now. And as you can see, it is starting with Cult of the Lamb and Stray. So rather than it being just a collection of most recently released games, it has more AA titles because it's based on the most selling games in this week, which means that these games that are selling 10 of them aren't going to be on the front page of the PlayStation Store, which I think does make good effort. It benefits everybody. It benefits PlayStation because they're going to be getting more sales of their most popular games, but it also benefits casual, normal gamers who are just looking on the new games every week to decide and find a great game that they might want to play. You can find these games pretty quickly because a lot of games come out every week, but if you keep going long enough, so there's some big games here you can see, you kind of then reach the Jumping Noodles, Tump Jump, the Pig Quiz, Taco Fun, all these little £2 games that are on here. And if you go to View All, you can see that it's set by best selling now rather than release. So if you change it to release, you can see these type of games straight away. You have to look for them a lot harder now, and I think that is a good idea, but you can see there is so many of these games coming out. It is rather staggering how many of these games are coming out, and the quality of these games is very questionable. So what does this actually mean for gamers, trophy hunting, etc, etc? I think it means that PlayStation have now been made aware that a lot of people are not happy with the current gaming atmosphere on the PlayStation Store, because the PlayStation Store has thousands and thousands of games on here, probably tens of thousands of games now at this point, and there's a lot of games coming out every week which are definitely below quality, and there is this niche of us who do like to play those games for the Platinum Trophy, and I think PlayStation are kind of becoming aware of it, if they weren't already, but someone is aware of it now, and I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if they're going to take some form of action against it, because it does bring up the question of who decides if a game is worthy of being on the store, but I guess ultimately it does come down to PlayStation because it is their store, and they have to design it in a way which makes them the most money ultimately, but the best way to make money for PlayStation is to create the best store they can for the gamers, which keeps people browsing through it for longer. And if you're seeing 2 or 3 stacks of the same game. Most normal gamers will be looking at these games thinking, why is this game on 2-3 times? Because unless you know about stacks, you kind of are a little bit confused. And I think with the introduction of the new PlayStation Stars system, which is going to be the new system based around trophies, I think if they're not already aware of it, it's going to become very clear to them at that point that there'll be people, especially if they're giving like potentially financial incentives to earn platinum trophies, that a lot of these games are going to be getting played considerably more so, and it might make them realize that they can't potentially give out the financial incentives they want to give out because of how many people are playing these very quick games. I mean, it is pretty interesting. I mean, I've obviously said my piece many a time, and I think there's some really good indie games out there which are £3, £4, £5, but I do think a lot of them are just given an easy platinum trophy to drive sales towards the game, which, for better or for worse, it does give them more money to support more projects, but again, it just creates this cycle of making games that maybe you don't have to finish to earn the platinum trophy, and of course it encourages people, it's very small teams of 1 or 2 people, to make very low level games, and then they come on the store. And I do think that Sony do have to act on this, and I think there's a couple of things they actually could do to improve the PlayStation Store in terms of getting rid of the low quality games. The first thing is so obvious, which is to vet their game. I don't know what standard a game has to be at to be on the PlayStation Store, but with some of these games, as of many I've played, it's clear that the standard for game is not that high on the PlayStation, and I'm not sure how they want to be. Are they wanting to encourage all games on their platform, or are they wanting, like just like Steam, or are they wanting to encourage high quality games on their ecosystem? I personally would rather have high quality games, but I suppose it depends on, again, it's going to come down to their finances. Now, I think if we were to address the Platinum Trophy, how would they remove these games from getting their Platinum Trophies? I don't think they'll be able to go back and remove Platinum Trophies from certain games, but I do think going forward they should assess games and decide, probably based on length or price, as to whether or not a game is assigned a Platinum Trophy. I would probably say games that are under £8, $10 probably should not be getting a Platinum Trophy, and they should just be given, you know, the 12 or 15 trophies that the games without Platinums get. But it would curb it, and it would stop people from taking advantage of it, because that is what a lot of game developers are doing. A lot of the smaller teams are taking advantage of the trophy system to make some substantial money. Now, they're probably, some of the bigger ones probably are making millions, but there'll be plenty of small teams of 2 or 3 people who are making close to hundreds of thousands of pounds over churning out 3 or 4 of these games every single month, which is staggering to think that a lot of these games are so poorly made, but they're being supported enough to justify keep making them. Final thing they could actually do to try and counteract this would to bring in the free trial system, which some of the games have, and I do, without a doubt, think it's the best thing to do. I think if they were to give it an hour trial on all games, I know it would probably take a little bit of software development, probably have to be online to play it, but I do think that it would improve everyone's experience gaming anyway, because we can get an idea as to whether or not we like a game before we actually purchase it and spend £60-70 on it, because games are getting incredibly more expensive. But it also means that these games that take like 10 minutes to platinum, 1 hour platinum, and so on, it would make them completely null and void. And potentially it could be games from a certain date, maybe not all games released from the 1st of September 2022, for example. That's very short, but for example, that could then mean all those games, then you can access them through a free trial, and that would stop these games from being around at all, because it'd have to be longer, which would discourage this easy platinum mentality. So yeah, that's just my thoughts on this. I thought it was an interesting article I wanted to share, and someone shared it with me from Discord, so I appreciate that one. And let me know what your thoughts are on this. Is it good? Is it bad? Should Sony be taking action against this? I mean, at the end of the day, anybody can play whatever game they want to play, but there's already a market for these games on Steam. That's the thing. So it's not like these games would not exist, because they can exist on Steam. Steam is the kind of platform where anybody can make and release a game, and it's just whether or not Sony want to jump on that bandwagon or not, especially if it's affecting their reputation, which I think it is. Thanks for watching. Take it easy.